And live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Let's get into the big conversation this morning. This morning we're understanding the GoldBod policy. Well, the Ghana GoldBod has informed the general public that pursuant to the Ghana GoldBod Act 1140/2025, passed by Parliament on 29th March and assented to by the President of the Republic on 2nd April 2025, all licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, and I'm talking about PMMC, and for the minister responsible for mines to a person other than a large-scale mining company to deal in gold have ceased to be valid. The GoldBod is currently the sole buyer, seller, and the sayer and exporter of all gold produced by the licensed artisanal and small-scale mining sector. As such, a statement issued on Monday, April 14, that was signed by Prince Kwame Minta. He is the media relations officer of GoldBod. He said no person other than the GoldBod is permitted to export ASM gold from Ghana, and I'm talking about artisanal and small-scale mining gold from Ghana. Also, no person other than the GoldBod or a licensed buyer or aggregator or service provider of the GoldBod is permitted to purchase or deal in gold in the country. However, the statement added to ensure a smooth transition and respect for existing contractual obligations between licensed gold buyers and their off-takers, the Ghana GoldBod has resolved to allow for gold purchases and exports by persons holding appropriate licenses issued to them by the PMMC and or the minister responsible for mines until the 30th of April 2025. Ghanaian or fully owned Ghanaian company whose license has ceased to be valid and or any Ghanaian who is desirous of dealing in gold is encouraged to apply for a license under the GoldBod Act. And I'm talking about Act 1140, effective Tuesday, 22nd of April 2025.
3FM Sunrise.
Send to do, you know,
3FM Sunrise.
Let's go to the phone lines and speak with Che Kojo Yamwa. He is the Executive Director of Help Foundation Ghana, Help Foundation Africa. He was a major stakeholder or a key player in this GoldBod policy. Let's get in touch with him for some more perspectives on what the work of GoldBod actually is. And the latest directive issued by the GoldBod yesterday on all ASM operators. Temwa, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Good morning to you. First of all, talk to us about this GoldBod policy. From your stakeholder engagement with them, what have you gleaned?
Yes, thank you very much. We in civil society working in the extractive sector are very concerned and are playing our role to ensure that we are able to, maximize benefit from our gold mining whilst we reduce environmental and social damage. So we have made a lot of recommendations, especially improving the governance of our gold sector. And the GoldBod comes in handy during the engagement with civil society and other actors. We made our points very clear because you will see that the GoldBod's original intent is to increase forex from the gold mining. So what it means is to increase a lot of the gold production. But our major concern is to ensure that whilst you want to increase forests, you do not support irresponsible and illegal mining. And we made that very clear. And they showed us some of the structures that they will put in place. But basically, in the past, for instance, in 2021, one of our key actors, Africa Center for Energy Policy, had estimated that about $5 billion is annually lost to gold smuggling, and another about $2 billion in tax revenue is lost due to illegal gold operations and smuggling. So that is a lot of money that can be plunged back into the economy, and that can bring a lot of development and growth. So we will need to address that as a nation. And that is why, for some of us, we are happy that the GoldBod being formed is also looking at addressing smuggling, which is a major issue. You know that even our current finance minister had indicated that just in 2022, conservatively, about $1.2 billion was lost to gold smuggling. So that is some quantum of money that we need to be looking at how to manage that, to ensure that our gold that we are, even polluting the environment to generate, we don't also lose the revenue. So it's very important to do that, because when you're losing these money, you will not be able to have enough money to come back to reclaim the land and also to push back in the economy to ensure development. So the issue about the GoldBod and the directive given is in line with the GoldBod Act 1140 that had been passed in 2025, and it's very, very similar to how Tanzania has been able to manage effectively the gold sector. For Tanzania, they have over 42 mineral markets and over 100 small purchasing centers where government is controlling the purchase of gold to ensure that you have certain level of control. As a nation, if you don't have certain level of control, it is very dangerous. Especially, you will not be able to even address illegal mining because the smuggling is bringing in a lot of profit and windfall to those involved. So it will be very difficult to cut it off. And we know that in Ghana, a lot of our gold is being smuggled. They end up in Dubai and others. And especially because our borders are so porous and there are so many people involved, and that is something that needs to be managed. Especially now that we hear of armed bandits in our forest reserves and in certain areas typically engaged in mining. Most of these can easily smuggle the gold and then they can use it to get ammunition and others. We have seen in other Africa areas where gold and minerals are not being controlled and managed, and it ends up in armed conflict. So it's very important that we manage our gold. And it's very important that we put in the structures and the governance mechanisms to ensure that we extract as maximum revenue from the gold that we are making, and ensure that unscrupulous and recalcitrant individuals will not be benefiting at our expense.
Mr. Yamo, I would like for you to hold on for me as I engage Zainab Al-Hassan, Deputy Major Relations Officer of GoldBod. Zainab, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. GoldBod issued a statement yesterday, and it's a 9-paragraph statement that has elicited some form of reactions from various quarters. From where you sit, what does the GoldBod intend to achieve with this press statement?
Okay, so thank you very much. So first of all, as we've already stated in the media, we officially become the sole entity permitted to buy, sell, assay, and export gold from artisanal and small-scale mining in Ghana. Okay, so what we intend to achieve is to seize all illegal operations, all these black markets, exporting gold illegally and buying gold from the country, buying gold from outside the country and exporting illegally, will cease, because GoldBod has been given the sole authority to do so. So even if you have accumulated a larger number of gold, you can't export it, you can't sell it to anybody, you can't buy from anybody apart from GoldBod. So for now, all people holding licenses, all people who trade in gold, their licenses cease to operate within this period. On the 22nd of April, we look forward to publishing our website, where all existing gold traders would have to go and renew their licenses or reapply in the name of GoldBod. Currently, we know most of them are holding licenses in the name of PMNC, and then ones issued by the Minerals Commission.
Right.
They all cease to operate because we want their licenses to be in the name of GoldBod. So as I said, on the 22nd of April, we'll open the website, we'll go there and reapply for a new license.
So, Zainab, what has been the reception or the reaction of industry players so far after the release of this statement?
Honestly speaking, most of them have embraced it. They are okay. If you're in the gold business, you would have no option but to conform to the new law that GoldBod is bringing up, because it's going to be to your own benefit. By law, if you are caught operating illegally, trading in gold illegally, the law would have to deal with you. So in order to avoid all this back and forth, just go, apply with GoldBod, and start operating, just to avoid every back and forth and being caught, being wanted, and all of that. And more so, one thing that has really affected, there's a category of people that have been affected by this whole GoldBod thing, the foreign traders. So they cease to operate. They don't have any rights to operate. We are dealing with the indigents.
For the affected companies or affected industries, and I'm talking about those who have their licenses ceasing to be valid, do we have a number? Do we know how many they are and what their contributions to the gold value chain is?
Okay, we know a number of them, but we don't really know a company who deals in gold. All you need to do is to avail yourself to GoldBod. You get it? Because you can't operate, you can't do anything. Whether you buy the gold, you keep it, you want to sell it, you want to export it, whatever trade you want to deal with your gold that you've accumulated, you can't do anything about it up from dealing with GoldBod. That is the sole entity responsible for trading in gold. Because we are for trading in gold, you can't even export your gold. You can't sell it to anybody unless you keep it in your room. I hope you understand.
Right. And this is to you, Mr. Yamwa. So you, as a CEO on extractive governance and also a member of the Ghana National Coalition against Galamsey, let's now talk about the levels of stakeholder engagement that GoldBod has had between itself and other industry players, for instance. Do you think it has been enough to ensure strict compliance?
Yes, but the most important thing is that engagement must be seen as a process and not event. I have seen a lot of engagement that have gone on for collating input for the GoldBod Act. But importantly, Now that we seek to implement, this is where engagement is most important. Because addressing smuggling is a very difficult and complex situation, especially in our case where there are known routes and unknown routes, where we have smuggling moving into Burkina Faso, Togo, Ivory Coast, almost neighboring countries. We have routes known and unknown where smuggling takes place. And even there are local indications of even sea transport, where smugglers are using smaller boats and also, fishing canoes to smuggle gold. And this must be looked at seriously. I personally like the point that was made of creating incentives for whistleblowers, so that those who are able to give credible information on gold smuggling at least have some incentives. You would need to work collaboratively with all stakeholders and the community to ensure that we are able to address this. Because you see, in a lot of countries, and I cited the example of Tanzania, once government is strengthening regulation and governance, the recalcitrant miners and those in the cartel and in this illicit trade also find ways of outwitting the system. So you would need continuous, constant engagement to be able to identify the loopholes and to understand the trends and the dynamics. But what is most important is that as a nation, we need to strengthen our governance, have control of our resources, and for us, we fully support the directive of the GoldBod. And as we have said, we've seen an example in Tanzania that have yielded very positive results. And we have also made a lot of recommendations to the GoldBod to operationalize their objectives and to ensure that we have improved governance and improved enforcement to ensure that the volumes of money we are losing, for instance, with over 1.2 billion to what Africa Center of Energy Policy prescribes, about 5 billion to 7 billion, we shouldn't be losing this money due to gold smuggling. We need that back in the economy. So that is very important that we do that. We deal with it, and we deal with it decisively.
Right.
So I would encourage the GoldBod to ensure that there is a lot of engagement. Some of us are available to support to ensure that Ghana maximizes benefit from this gold trade.
And Zainab, what response do you give to those who have been of the opinion that this is some kind of for the lack of a better word, state monopoly that is being packaged in the form of the GoldBod initiative or the GoldBod policy?
Well, it's just some people trying to say propaganda with this whole GoldBod that we are going to make sure that nothing of that sort happens, because we are not just going to be the only persons in the GoldBod business. We are going to have special people who will have to, see to it that the operations are done smoothly and nothing like, we don't have any issues, like no issues comes out.
So what we're talking about is, if it comes to buying, selling, licensing, and exporting gold, if it is all happening under one roof, under GoldBod, is it not suggestive of some form of dominion that the state wants to take?
Please come again. I didn't get you well.
So what I'm asking is, based on the mandate of GoldBod, if we're talking about buying, we're talking about licensing, and you agree to the fact that you mentioned that if it's not GoldBod, it means you cannot, sell your gold, if you like. All you have to do is to keep it in your room. Now, if it comes to buying, selling, and licensing and exporting of gold, all happening under the GoldBod umbrella, does it not justify the suspicions that it may be some form of state monopoly ongoing?
Not at all. Not at all.
How is it not, if you care to explain, Zainab?
Well, I'm not in the capacity to explain in-depthly about that.
I see. And let me ask Che this. So, Che, again, the same question. Is it not suggestive of that form of monopoly from the state or by the state?
Yes, let me say that, first of all, our constitutions give the monopoly to the state on minerals. It says that any minerals found on the surface, under the surface, in the water, everywhere, is held in trust on our behalf by the government. So it already gives the sole responsibility of managing our minerals. And that is something that the Constitution has already provided. And it is very important that we, as a nation, take absolute control over our natural resources, especially in this case of gold smuggling and mismanagement and corruption and other trade irregularizations or irregularities in the gold trade. We need to ensure that the structures are strengthened. And that is why we support this directive. However, there are other areas that we have concerns of, and we will continue to engage with the GoldBod to ensure that we are able to address these issues as we get to the bridge and we cross it. So that is what it is. But it's very important as a nation to take absolute control on your mineral resources. And the Constitution already gives the monopoly to government.
Che,
absolute control.
What concerns? What are some of the concerns that you have, Che?
Yeah, some of the concerns that we have is that if at the GoldBod your main objective is to increase forest, get much gold as possible, then you may be tempted to be dealing with irresponsible and illegal gold as well, because you are looking at increasing volumes. So that is one thing that we are very concerned about. So we have made it clear that ensure that you do not in any way encourage irresponsible and illegal mining. Because if you are going to deal with aggregators and off-takers who are going out there to buy gold for you as a board, then you will need to ensure that there is a strong code of conduct to avoid those aggregators going out there to buying from illegal and irresponsible miners. So that is something that we are looking at. The other point is that, for instance, the GoldBod will be providing support services, including equipment and others. We want to ensure that it has to be transparent so that we don't seem to be supporting party boys with national assets. And that is something that we want to ensure that it is fair, it is transparent, so that those who would need access to this equipment will be able to access it, irrespective of where they belong. And because this is our taxpayers' money that is going to go into that. So it is something that we have also mentioned about. I have a background in extractive metallurgy, so I also indicated to them that, look, one of the few things we need to do is to increase the gold recovery. A lot of the small-scale miners are reducing or not even maximizing the extractive process. Some of them are getting as low as 30% extraction of the gold. So we are wasting the ore and we are washing them away. So we will need to ensure that there is capacity building, technical training on how to ensure that your concession, you maximize the recovery of the gold in the concession, so that we don't go about taking so many concessions and not really extracting the maximum gold that is there. And some of us saw this years ago when we realized that a lot of the small mining sites were wasting the gold, and the gold were getting washed into the rivers. And we knew that with time, the miners would go into the river and then get the gold that is there, because the gold was not extracted with the maximum technical efficiency. And that is one of the areas that must be looked at to ensure that when they engage some of us, we are available. We've been doing consultancies in the sector for a while, so that we can guide to ensure that once a concession is given, you are able to maximize your gold recovery and we don't waste the ore. That is a very important point.
These are some of the concerns you had. And Zainab, what has been the response of GoldBod to some of the concerns that Che Yamwa has raised? I'm sure some other industry players may have, if not the same, but similar sentiments.
So, all right, you made mention of how GoldBod will see to it that there is no illegal mining or illegal smuggling of gold outside the country. Well, as stated by the CEO, GoldBod will grant special powers to appointed inspectors on how to clamp down illegal gold smuggling in gold mines. Illegal gold smuggling, let me put it. With the illegal mining, our powers are just limited. We don't have the sole power to deal with illegal miners. That is why we have EPA, we have the Lands and Natural Resources who take charge of that. So they will deal with the illegal miners. But ours is to ensure that we are going to give special powers to people who will inspect and make sure there is no illegal gold smuggling. That has been the concern of some people so far. And another concern is the licenses are going to be revoked. They think maybe if the license is revoked, they may not get access to they may not have access to gold trading anymore. If you already have an existing license, you just cease to operate because the license is not in the name of GoldBod. You get it? But so far as we've published the website and you would have to go there and reapply, if you're able to pass through that process, that's all.
What is the similarity between the work of GoldBod and that of COCOBOD? I understand there's some kind of link. What is it?
No, you see, COCOBOD deals with, they are also the sole entity who buy and sell gold and sell cocoa. So the similarity here is that GoldBod is the sole entity to buy, sell, assay, and export gold. Just as GoldBod also, COCOBOD also does this. They are the sole entity to buy and sell gold outside the country.
And Yama, there are concerns that although there are various degrees or some similarities between the work of COCOBOD and GoldBod, COCOBOD is not eliminating players from the value chain. It's not eliminating farmers from the value chain. It is regulating and empowering them. But GoldBod, on the other hand, is centralizing the buying, the licensing, and exporting of gold. And they are capturing the commodity market. It's not a fair argument to make, is it?
Actually, there are a lot of similarities in terms of the control because COCOBOD is also using other parties and other partners to get them to buy the cocoa for them. It's the same instance that the GoldBod is using, I believe, is using aggregators and others who are licensed. So in cocoa, we have licensed cocoa buyers. And I have seen from the engagement that the GoldBod wants to also use a similar process where we have aggregators and others who will buy on behalf of the GoldBod. So you need to have your license, and then you need to be vetted through the process to ensure that once you are buying the gold, you are not also smuggling or engaging other illegalities or informalities. So I think that that is the similarities in terms of what the GoldBod and the COCOBOD has. For instance, the COCOBOD primarily is looking at responsibilities of purchasing, marketing, and exporting gold, cocoa. And I think it's a similar thing for GoldBod in terms of purchasing, marketing, and exporting gold. So these are the similarities in terms of that. And for instance, as COCOBOD supports farmers, gives them technical know-how and even improve cocoa seedlings, I think it's a similar way that GoldBod is also will be supporting small-scale miners with machinery and also technical input. So the lines are very parallel, and I think that we need to look at it. But the point we have raised is that COCOBOD for many years have not been able to be very successful in dealing with cocoa smuggling, and we know that. And smuggling cocoa is even more difficult than smuggling gold, because if you want to smuggle cocoa in fact, you know the volume and you need to carry it. Even that, GoldBod has not been successful in dealing with smuggling. How much more small gold that can be hidden in our items? That is why we are encouraging the GoldBod to be very steadfast, to do continuous engagement and monitoring, because addressing smuggling of gold is very difficult than addressing smuggling of cocoa. And GoldBod has not been able to be effective on that. So the GoldBod has a lot of work to do to address smuggling. Very difficult task.
Still on the work of GoldBod, and this one is to you, Zainab. Now, there are a lot that have been put in place, and there seems to be some hope on gold that it would help revive the currency. We've spoken about the impact of smuggling and what it is doing to the gold economy. But looking at the effort that is being put in place and pegging that against the work of galamseyers, rightly so, that GoldBod may not be responsible or may not have a direct role to play in the role of illegal mining. But it looks as though the investment or the resources invested in gold mining in Ghana, it would not be matched by the returns that we get. Is it not a fair concern to raise, Zainab? Zainab, can you hear me? Unfortunately, I cannot hear. Zainab, can you hear me?
Hello?
Zainab, did you get my question?
No, please come again. Sorry. I'm receiving multiple of calls, so I didn't hear you well.
Okay. So what I'm asking, Zainab, is bearing in mind the position of GoldBod and how it may not be directly linked with the fight against illegal mining. Now, if we're pegging the effort that the state is putting in gold, hoping that it helps to revamp the currency and all of that. Now, the investment, we understand that it may not match the returns that the country is likely to make from the attention it is putting on gold through the establishment of GoldBod and all of the work that GoldBod is doing effective immediately. Is it not a fair argument to make that the returns and the investment will not be on the same level?
Oh, okay. So this is very technical, and like I said earlier, I may not be in the capacity to explain some of these things, but all I know is we want to stabilize the cedi by accumulating enough gold for the Bank of Ghana, and then trading in gold will cease. Trading in gold with dollar will cease. We are only using the cedi, the Ghana currency, to trade in gold, which we all know that at the end of the day, what we intend to achieve is to stabilize the Ghana cedi over the over foreign currency, a currency like the dollar. That's all I can say. But the others are very technical, and I don't think I would have the best answer to give you.
I see. Let me put that same question to you, Yamwen. What response would you have to that?
Yes, as I've already indicated, there are a lot of things that the GoldBod needs to learn. And some of the things already stated in the regulations and others, maybe in the law, may be difficult to achieve now. But they will need to do a lot of engagement and others to ensure that they are able to address these and many other concerns that were labeled or tabled when they had the engagement. I hope they have a catalog of all those concerns. And these were very genuine concerns as well, to ensure that they are successful in addressing their issues.
Zayamwa, thank you so much for joining us on the program. We're speaking with Che Kojo Yamwa. He is a member of the CSOs in the extractive sector. He's also a member of the Ghana National Coalition Against Galamsey, as well as Zainab Al Hassan, Deputy Media Relations Officer of GoldBod. Gentlemen and lady, thank you so much. This is still Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Noble Crosby, and just gone by is the conversation on GoldBod, what they are supposed to do, and clearing your doubts on the latest directive from GoldBod.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
On GoldBod, understanding the GoldBod policy. We'll be speaking with the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin, on what impact this directive will have on the workers too. We understand that all the companies, they will have to fall in line, but as they do that, what will be the impact, if any, on mine workers in Ghana? Abdul Mumin, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. We've just spoken about this new directive from GoldBod. I'm sure you've seen it and you've followed the discussions on various platforms. For the Ghana Mine Workers Union, how do you receive this news? What impact will it have, if any?
Well, we find the news quite disappointing, quite impromptu, and it's actually sent very serious shivers down the spines of our members on the ground. They are not too happy about what's going on, because this came to the fore barely 48 hours ago, and for more indications, in the next couple of days, work has to come to an end. And so beyond the 18th of April, every worker is wondering, what's the way forward for me? And that obviously brings to fore what the role of the union will be in all of this. So we haven't received it with the best of intentions, because we believe that the state hasn't been too fair in the way and manner they've gone about this whole thing.
If you're talking about the impact it will have on the workers based on the areas or where they're working or the industry they belong to, what are some of them?
Well, immediately, workers are going to lose their jobs. And once you lose a job, you lose your income. And once you lose your income, your ability to contribute to your pensions is immediately truncated. And so there are far-reaching consequences for this singular decision. But the pain that we hold in this matter is in respect of government's own disposition and approach on the matter. Because as I speak to you, we are unable to tell what the plan is. Because it's a major decision that impacts virtually every stakeholder. But it doesn't appear there is a stopgap measure to say, look, this is what's going to happen in between now and when we so decide what the next way forward would be. And so it leaves us in a limbo as to what exactly is going on and what we are required to be doing at this stage. So the impact is obviously quite significant. Workers are going to lose their jobs, and the economy of the Daman and the adjoining communities, that's one of the major growth poles when it comes to economic activity around Daman and its enclaves. And so once this decision has been made and work comes to a standstill, that man is going to be at coast down. The level of economic activity is going to go down.
Will it not be fair, an expectation to have that the workers' union should, for the lack of a better word, attempt or encourage their companies to fall in line with this new directive so that they keep working and they retain the staff that they have?
No, I didn't get your question right. Can you please repeat it again?
So what I'm asking is, based on this directive from the GoldBod, is it not a fair expectation to have that the workers' union should demand of their companies or their associations, their companies mainly, to fall in line with the requirement of GoldBod so that they will keep working? It means they will keep retaining the staff they have.
Oh, my brother, it looks like there's a bit of a mix-up here. I mean, my earlier response was in respect to the Gold Coast Government of Ghana saga on the non-renewal or non-extension of the mining lease. But in respect of GoldBod, I think that a directive has come through, and ordinarily that is what the statute dictates. And so the statute says that you must succumb, or you must surrender, so that at least steps are taken to try and sanitize the licensing environment. I, as a union leader, am not opposed to the directive by the MD and by extension the board of the SWAL PMMC.
Abdul Umain, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time with us on the program.
Grateful. Thank you.